Langston Hughes has always been one of my favorite writers, and he has a wealth of poetry. I have a couple of his collections that sit on my shelf that dominate space. So just pulling out any of his works, you know, there's a million books. Pretty much for every single poem that he has, I could probably do a book. So it wasn't a question of why Langston Hughes, it was more a question of which of his poems that I would interpret. I began blending photography and poetry together actually with my very first book, Rim Shots. Rim Shots was about street basketball. I had a series of photographs that I had done first, and to be inspired by what to write, I decided to look at each photograph. Some of the photographs generated stories, but more often than not, they generated poems. As an artist, I started looking to other poems for inspiration, not just from myself, but from other writers as well that I would possibly be able to do photographs for. The selection process for my subjects when I do a photographic picture book is pretty simple, actually. The main thing is accessibility. They have to be local so that I can photograph them whenever I want. But more importantly, after the accessibility is the ability to be comfortable in the camera, in front of the camera. As a photographer, I'm very confident in my abilities to bring out what I need in someone, but in the case of particularly little kids, there's just certain things that they have to do. I have a number of books that I photograph babies, and the babies had to be able to sit up, or they had to be able to control their drool, little things like that, so that photographically it allowed me to work at a good pace, but also be able to get out of the subject what I wanted. I make a point whenever I do any of my photographic books to focus on each individual photograph so that the collection is really strong. I don't want to waste any images or any subjects, so I really focus on every single person that I'm photographing. That said, probably the most challenging image was the very first image where the line says "the night." The image is of a very dark young man, and then the line after that is, the two lines say "the night is beautiful." So he's on two pages, but the first one his eyes are closed, and the second one his eyes are open. That presented the biggest challenge because I wanted the picture with his eyes open to be a juxtaposition to the picture where his eyes are closed, because that sets the tone for the book, in that you basically can't see him really. You can kind of see some features, but you don't know exactly what's going on, so that when he does open his eyes and when he does smile, then it's really inviting and bringing the reader in. So that was the biggest challenge, and it was probably the one that I was, extremely pleased with the way it came out.